Okay, welcome everyone to the RMB's monthly meeting. Call the meeting to order. Call the meeting to order and place council meeting is administration Ashley Feschuk. Bob sent his regrets due to a family matter. Declarations of conflict of interest. Do any members of council have a conflict of interest with any of today's agenda? Okay, is there any other suggestions? Suggested agenda items for today's meeting to be placed under number
one I could possibly do too.
18.
I had someone mention concern about the speed on the pond road, and anyone who knows that road, it's just it ends at the beach, and it doesn't seem to be tourists. It apparently is locals speeding at a high rate down that road. So whether
Okay, we'll put it on the list for.
yeah.
I have a community pantry update, and then I have to also address childcare concerns in Belfast.
I'll raise my hand that I would have a conflict with that just because I have children that would benefit from the childcare program. I think that if there was some kind of vote, I should excuse myself, but I can probably provide information.
There won't be a vote tonight.
No, but I'm just saying
for
for future,
Yeah.
for future
Yep.
stuff. So I can potentially provide information, but I'll not vote on anything.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay. May we have a mover and a seconder to adopt the agenda as presented and amended? All in favor? Nay? Motion carried. Public presentations, if any. Members of the public were given presentations to council. After 5 minutes are up, the presenter will be asked an extension. The grantor is unanimous. Council is given. Following presentation, council may or may not ask questions. There is no public. So, on to number 5. Adoption of the June 21st, 2023 council meeting minutes. Previously distributed, all changes incorporated. May we have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes of the June 21st, 2023 council meeting as presented? Charlie moves. Second by Billy. All in favor? Nays? Motion carried. Business arising from the June 21, 2023 council meeting minutes. Already addressed in today's agenda, no other items. Okay, the CAO report is going to be presented by Administration Ashley Feschuk.
Okay, so all RMB revenues and expenditures are on track for 23-24 so far. The CAO finalized the cost for the strategic plan and budget approved computer and networking equipment for the 23-24 fiscal year, and all of that is underway. Audit documents are complete and will be provided to the auditor. The deadline is not until October. The CAO has redefined the current workload to be in sync with the recently approved 23-24, 26-27 strategic plan. Okay.
Okay, a meeting with their local MLA and Speaker of the House, the Honourable Darlene Compton. Read a report by Bob Brooks. For information only, it was on Monday, August the 7th. CAO Bob Brooks met with RMB's local MLA and Speaker of the House, the Honourable Darlene Compton. And in all, this was a very positive introductory meeting that was and one where the possibility for more future updates and collaboration on common issues were discussed and will be pursued. During the meeting, our MLA has brought up to current on the growth of the municipality over the last 5 years and the compliance with the Municipal Government Act. More specifically, MLA Compton was made aware of the latest RMB strategic plan, the large number of activities and the desire of this council to be involved in issues of concern to the residents of RMB, including issues that need the cooperation and consultation with other orders of government. 4 specific issues were discussed at this meeting. Issue 1 was a sustainable, reliable two-ferry service at Wood Islands. MLA Compton was very well aware of this issue and had our letters of concern and the Premier's support letter in hand. Our MLA was also well aware of our Eastern PEI Chamber of Commerce activities in this regard and all the options that we are looking into. I informed our MLA that RMB recently joined the Chamber to closer follow and participate in the ferry issues. RMB's position is that a minimum RMB is looking for a sustainable, reliable two-ferry service for Wood Islands, and the Premier's letter also seems to support that position. Item 2 was the Shop Belfast PEI initiative that was born out of the failures of the Wood Islands ferry service. The CAO updated our MLA on our Shop Belfast PEI local purchase program and was created due to the ferries at Wood Islands going out of service and on. The CEO made a point to talk about how well it is being received and how local residents are stepping up to fill in the void by the missing tourist visitor segment. Also, the CAO has made a point of thanking the Department of Tourism for immediate help in this initiative. Item 3 was the rural public transit service in Charlottetown down the Trans-Canada Highway to Wood Islands and on to Montague. MLA Compton was aware of our interest in having a rural public transit route that specifically covers the RMB service area beyond. Our MLA has already been in contact with the department and minister involved to find out more, and will continue to follow up. And I see just an add-on that in Orwell by the historic village we have a car park. Parking lot for carpool there now.
Okay, good.
It's open. In the last couple of weeks, I believe. Okay, drivers passing and stop school buses. MLA Compton is also very aware of the school bus issue and mentioned that she would be in touch with the minister responsible. MLA Compton did say that typically public information campaigns often start each school year to inform and warn drivers. Our MLA has also pointed out that they have heard a lot about the issues lately, especially in the Iona area. The CAO also pointed out that RMB would be more than happy to utilize RMB facilities like our website, Facebook, newsletter, etc. to push that safety message. RMB will continue to follow these issues with our MLA and other members and orders of government as and when required. Below are 4 issues presented for discussion by 2 of RMB councillors. First up is our Shop Belfast PEI purchase local program, updated by Catherine Bryson and Councillor Tricia Carter. Arm wrestle for who starts.
I've got a little bit. You can start.
Okay.
Sure.
Fine. Alright, so basically we started a Shop Belfast campaign. So there's, we made up these lovely cards that the campaign is for a draw for a $500 Visa gift card. And there's 21 participating businesses, local businesses located within the rural municipality of Belfast. And what people have to do is stop by any of these locations for a stamp on their stamp card, no purchase necessary. And after 5 stamps, they get to enter in the draw, and September 15th, we will be drawing for a $500 Visa gift card. What this has done is it's actually really brought up the morale during this very situation and helped people come out and realizing that there's a lot more businesses now in the Belfast area than there ever was before. And myself as a business owner, it's certainly the enjoyment, the excitement of it brought the community together, and also brought a lot of people from, up west down. And so it was really positive, and it's definitely being well received, and it's going to be exciting to see who wins the $500 Visa gift card. So we also have had shirts made up, so wearing a shirt tonight, and they come in blue and purple, so we do have shirts that are part of the fundraiser to help put the money back into this program and hopefully build it and see where it goes. So there you go. Turn it over to you.
The only thing I would add to that is that I just wanted to publicly acknowledge the fact that not all businesses who wanted to participate were able to do so this year, and we are aware of that issue. It is because we were advised to keep it within the municipality based off of time constraints and cost restraints. We only had $3,000 to get this entire campaign moving forward, and if it weren't for Ashley to have done all of our graphics for free, we certainly would not have been able to keep that within the budget. So we, I think I can speak for all of us that we appreciate all the businesses in the municipality, outside the municipality, that support our residents and add to our area. And so I just want to say that we are looking to expand the program for next year if we're able to continue it, and that we're hoping to include businesses outside of the municipality next year, and more information will be coming on that. And I also want to thank the Belfast Historical Society and the Big Belfast Initiative for handing this program, because they had originally started this a few years prior, and so they graciously handed this program over to us so we could revamp it and get it running again. The draw date is on September 15th, so we will be, I assume we'll go live on Facebook. We can make that happen. But we will be advising who the winner is. So it could be anyone. There's still lots of time to get around to your businesses. You only have to go to 5. I mean, obviously, the more you go to, the more chances you have. But yeah, certainly it's been great. Very well received. So, yeah.
So sorry, how does it work? On the card, you have the 5 areas of your stamp.
Yes.
And can you fill out multiple cards?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we wanted to make it, obviously we want everyone to go. So the previous program from the Big Belfast, I believe they had to go to like at least 10. But with ours, no longer getting it out so quickly, and more so we just wanted to get people out, period. So we just made it really inclusive. You just go to 5 stops. But if you want to go to all 21, you can collect 21 stamps and have 4 stamp cards, the more the merrier. So absolutely. And yeah, you can pick up the stamp cards at any of the businesses. They all have them. And yeah, any questions, reach out to Ashley Trisher.
I just have another question. So would we consider this a program that's being administered by the council?
It was, it was very much administered by us, but funded this year by Tourism PI. And we'll be hoping to reach out to Tourism PI next year.
Great.
Different funding.
So like with some of the fundraising things that you're doing, how will you decide how to divvy up the money for whatever you're going to do with the money?
It'll just go into the call. Well, I
Yeah, so the cost to get this up and running, we graciously gifted money from tourism. That is probably not going to happen next year, so if we want to continue this program, be able to print more and more cards, we need to be able to have money going back into it to support it. And so that's where by selling the t-shirts and having that donation going back, we can hopefully be able to provide this program again easily with part of the cost involved. So.
absolutely. And Charlie, we will be providing a full financial report.
Absolutely.
And everything. Yeah, we absolutely will. Probably at the September meeting, we'll have let everyone know what's going on. But we'll have a full report of how it happened, why it happened, what we'd like to happen next, and how much it costs.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well done, councillors, thank you.
And thank you, Ashley.
Oh, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
A lot of work, ladies. Congratulations.
It
Oh.
was pretty cool.
That was one on these, the first print we did. Belfast unfortunately got cut off because we did these at 11 p.m. at night. And we were exhausted because this is all we did for 48 hours. And so, yeah, major oversight, but was reprinted and the ones with the full map were sent island-wide, so.
Yes.
Okay, item 10, the public transit connection for RMB area, presented by councillor Tricia Carter.
Okay, so, on July 20th, RMB reached out to the Department of Transportation in MLA Darlene Compton to start the lobby for an additional route to the PI Rural Public Transit System. This additional route will see a bus come from Charlottetown, down Trans-Canada to the Wood Islands and ferry, then on to Montague and further connections and return. The Department of Transportation in MLA Compton is currently reviewing the request.
Okay, thank you, Trish.
Can you talk about the rural public transit system? Are you talking about the one that the deal they got with Terry that runs up to St. Pete Corral and sort of something similar to that? Is that what?
Yeah, it's a T3, so looking at having, because it goes up to Surrey, but trying to get one that comes down here.
I thought it was. I thought the deal with Terry was more a follow the mill comment or some kind of subsidy towards them. Is there a schedule run up
The
there?
schedule runs up there. Yeah.
We go to Montague and Surrey, do you know, daily?
Yep.
Yeah, that's all.
Or is that currently going to
Montague to Surrey, daily.
It just makes sense. I mean, we've got the ferry there.
Right?
And lots of people walk on
A
the
lot of
ferry.
people walk on, a lot of people are over doing work away, and coming back, and so, you know, you see a lot, I see a lot being on the Trans-Canada Neighborhood Ferry, that I see a lot of people hitchhiking to get back to town or to the ferry to be able to get on it, so having this, I think, would be a great initiative. Will bring more people down the ferry, but it's also gonna make it safer for people to travel and to be able to actually get employment versus being unable to get employment because they can't get on the bus.
And locals need transport to
Yep.
town or Montague for appointments or what have you, they can do public. Okay, number 11, drivers passing stop school buses, presented by councillor Catherine Bryson.
So this is an update. Obviously, I brought it up in July. So just to update everyone on what's happened thus far. So on July 13th, just on a personal note, as a mom and as a resident of Iona, I sent a letter off to Natalie Jameson, who is the Minister of Education. I also extended it to Darlene Compton, Corey Daigle, and the reason Corey was on there is because even though this was happening in Iona, the kids were going to the Mountain School. And so I immediately heard back from Natalie Jameson's office, and she advised that she would forward it to the public schools branch, the then director, Norbert Carpenter, who's no longer there now, and also to the director of transportation and risk management with the public schools branch, who is Dave Gillis. Dave Gillis got back to me and sent me a very lengthy email. Obviously, he gets this concern quite often from angry moms. So some keys that he did mention, one that really stuck out with me is that there is a new bus safety task force that has been meeting over the summer holidays, and they're going to be reviewing and making ongoing recommendations to government, which was really, really good to hear. He sent me, I'm going to provide this email to Ashley to post on our website, but he sent me kind of all the safety aspects that they do already go through. And then, yeah, he just wanted to advise again and follow up that the safety task force was going forward. There were, so on July 27th, we also sent out an official letter through the municipality. Again, so we sent it out to our Premier Dennis King, Blake Thompson, the Minister of Justice and Public Safety, Darlene Compton, Corey Daigle, and Natalie Jameson's office. I believe do you guys want me to read it? Or,
You can just see if there's any key points.
well, I guess I can, it'll be up on the website, but what we specifically asked for as a municipality, rear and forward facing cameras be placed on all school buses island-wide. The province initiated an awareness campaign to inform, educate, and remind the public of the school bus rules. The province installs signs similar to those recently installed for drunk driving at all entry ports to the island, informing the rules of law regarding school buses on Prince Edward Island. And that one specifically was based off drivers that were caught passing school buses saying, I didn't know, I'm not from here. Even though that rule, I believe, is Canada-wide. But regardless, and then the province strengthened and enforced the laws put in place for the safety of our children and increased the penalties for these infractions. And that one was specifically, we've all been told, we've all seen the sign on the school bus that says you get $3,000 fine, you lose 5 points. That's not actually the case. So the specific infractions that were occurring on Iona Road, the father was very diligent and was prepared for these and ready and hopped in his car and followed those cars until they stopped, until he got the license plates. And each one of these drivers that were charged, there were 3 of them within a 2-week span, only received a $1,000 fine and lost no points. So it's a bit misguided how they represent those charges.
Yeah, and it'd be interesting to know who gets to make the decision as to what.
Exactly. So that's why we specifically put that point in there for Minister Thompson to review and enforce.
And so we got a response back from anybody?
We got from the municipality, we received nothing.
Okay. So just
We did, I should say, we received nothing. Bob did meet with Darlene Compton and brought it up to her, but there was nothing from any of the other offices. So,
Not yet.
not yet. And Darlene has advised that she is going to push this forward because it is a provincial issue. It's happening in our municipality, but it's a provincial issue. So we'll continue to push forward on that.
Okay, thank you, Catherine. Item 12, the Wood Islands Ferry issue, presented by Councillor Tricia Carter and Councillor Catherine Bryson.
Go for it.
There are
Sorry guys, just taking up all their way.
Switch the camera back over.
It has been a very hectic, busy 2 months. Where do we start? I guess I'll start with what the issue is. Clearly we talked about this in July when it was up front and center. The angles we're taking to move this forward, the contingency plan, if the bridge were ever to be effective, I mean, we saw it this past weekend with a car crash, but it could be much more severe than that. A boat comes by, accidentally hits the bridge, anything can happen. So contingency plan, the emergency angle, so if the bridge is blocked and accessible or burdened for a short amount of time, the speed at which individuals can get to the IWK or any of the major specialists in Halifax, and the speed at which individuals can leave the island should there be an emergency event, wildfire, flood, anything could happen nowadays, unfortunately. So those are all key points that we are using to push this issue forward. On top of that, there's obviously the economic and the just the overall commerce of this. We obviously think of tourism in the summer, but it's much more than that. It's local businesses that are affected. It's the opportunities that are afforded to the eastern end of the PI, and also the import and the export shipping. This issue truly affects the viability of the entire rural life in eastern PI, not just Belfast. So on July 18th, Garth, Bob, Ashley, Tricia, and I attended a public meeting held by the Eastern PI Chamber of Commerce. This was held in Montague. It was open to the public. Key politicians were invited to attend. A few of them chose to do so, as well as key speakers from the business community were also invited to attend and share their concerns. So overall, this meeting, I guess there is a detailed report that is up on the website, but overall, this meeting was effective in getting the points across of what the concerns were, but we all left that meeting with no plan moving forward. I think we can all agree when we attended. So following this meeting, the actions that RMB took is that we became a registered member of the Eastern PI Chamber of Commerce. And the reason for this, number one, it was fairly inexpensive to do so. Number two, since the chamber has taken on the lead of this issue, we wanted to align ourselves with them so we could be informed mostly, so we could be part of those meetings in Alberta. So on August 8th, once again, the rural municipality of Belfast was invited to attend a meeting hosted by the Eastern PI Chamber of Commerce with an MP, Eric Duncan, from Ontario, who represented the official opposition, the Conservative government, and he is a key leader for PR politics. So Councillor Carter and I attended this meeting. It was very small. Besides Tricia and I, there was only one other business owner that chose to come to the meeting, which was actually quite great because we had his full attention. So it was, I think we both walked away from that meeting quite pleasantly surprised. We also gathered a lot more information from the chamber as to what they wanted to do moving forward. And do have that. So the solutions and next steps that we are immediately moving forward with. Number one, it was agreed that secondhand ferries are required for the interim until a new ferry is eventually built and delivered. It was made aware to us at that meeting that there are many ferries available for purchase in Europe today.
And have already been suggested.
Yes, to Transport Canada. So again, it's Transport Canada's responsibility to acquire these ferries. So there's a question of why hasn't it happened, what's stopping, and that's the Chamber's responsibility to move that forward. We all agreed at the meeting that pressure needs to be put on Transport Canada for a timely solution. With this in mind, the following must and will occur. So two points. The Chamber is going to has requested copies of the appropriate documents regarding the ferry service from Transport Canada, and this will just give us the background that we need moving forward. Also, we are going to be moving forward with creating an economic impact study, and so the reason for doing this is to then have a solid document that we can send to Transport Canada saying this is how, this isn't just business owners grumbling that this is going to affect us, this is how this is going to affect us and what will happen without a reliable service vessel. So, the government of Canada. There's grants.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it will not be the municipality. That will all go through grants, basically from the government to tell the government that they need to do their job. Bit ironic. The fourth thing that is coming out Parliament is open again, they're going to call for an official hearing on the ferry service by the Federal Transport Committee. This may not even happen, but they're at least going to try. And the fourth and final thing that will be coming is still just in the starting stages, is an information-based marketing campaign will be created to keep this issue front and center. Now, this specific thing, they may come to the municipality looking
To all the municipalities, not
Yes,
just here.
yes,
Yeah.
not just us, from everyone,
Yeah.
but that has not been decided yet. It's just very early stages. We all agreed that we need to keep this issue front and center. I mean, already, I think you and I have seen it specifically with the Shop Belfast. At the very beginning, when the ferry wasn't running, everyone was so concerned. They all came out.
Yeah.
And now that the ferry is back up and running, it's less urgent, it's less in our face. I don't want to say that people don't care, because I know that people care, but it's just not screaming at us that we have to go do this. And so we need to keep up. Even as our off season comes in, as the winter comes in, we need to keep pushing for this issue.
And it's probably a way to keep people educated as to what's going on versus, you know, oh, I heard from so-and-so and not being truthful what's going on. So this will be a link or a resource for people to be like, okay, opposition is ask for this. This is what we're doing for this. This is where we're at, you know. And so it will help keep information proper and upfront.
Absolutely. So that's all I had as an update. It's a lot. I don't know if you had anything, or Garth, if you had anything extra to add to
Couldn't
that.
add to that. You did a
Yeah.
lot in 8
Very
days.
thorough, very
One-
thorough.
I did forget, I dropped the ball on this. So after our meeting, Eric did tour the business. He did stop by.
Oh, good.
And he was very surprised that, you know, the ferry is like, it's such a integral part of this end of the island. And so yeah, we did chat about, you know, thanking for the meeting to be held, and he really has a much better understanding because he came over from Halifax and was leaving by the bridge, but this way he was able to really truly see what that would have looked like not having a ferry. So, you know, a very positive experience. I'm very optimistic that we'll hopefully have some help and somebody in our corner.
Yeah. And I should highlight too, this isn't a partisan issue
No.
at all. It just happened that that meeting,
They asked for
the official opposition wanted to have that meeting to find out what the issue was, because they knew there was an issue. From the municipality standpoint, we are working very hard to have the official government, the Liberal Party.
well, they're here next week.
They're
Yeah,
here
Prime
now.
Minister.
They're here now.
Yeah, sorry.
I should say we're actively working to try to get a meeting with them as well. So this is going to be an ongoing issue. We're not going to have this resolved next month. Wouldn't that be awesome? But we will continue to update the council, the public, as we hear new information.
It's difficult to think that people created a problem and also with no solution. So it's kind of an issue that's going on for 25, 30 years. I can remember sitting down and my face was red and I tore the hair across part of Canada and trying to put the exact case forward I was talking about now. There's another issue that probably should have been put into thinking forward a little bit. I noticed the person down, Senator from Prince Edward Island, has been lobbying quite difficult and strenuously over the last number of years. Got told to move on the Confederation Bridge and also the anticipating looking forward towards the fact that the bridge is going to be turned over to the federal government. Is that with the ferry here, that unless they apply the same principles here, is a death knell here. He's making the point that the bridge is put across the St. Lawrence River, a $5 million bridge, and it was built and the costs were absorbed by the federal government, and it costs nothing to one hole on that bridge to cross. So he's been trying to make the case the same thing should apply, and he's only been talking about the Confederation Bridge, and the ferry should be.
We did bring that up in the conversation
decision probably made to knock the cost down. And these reports, trying to do PC drivers, which is probably 100 times bigger than this one is.
It's a complicated issue. There's a lot of angles to this.
Oh, there's so many angles to it.
There's a lot, like you had brought up previously, there's a lot of background to this. There's a lot of people who have their
I wrote about it.
fingers in it.
I wrote about
It's
a
not-
30-page report at one point, dealt with the issues at the end, and it gets so complex, that you hardly get your head around really.
Thank you, ladies.
And Jim.
And saltwater flyer distribution presented by Administration Ashley Feschuk.
Okay, I am in regular communications with our rep from Saltwire. The boxes and trees are now in place, and it all seems to be going well. There were a few minor issues with the installment and some advertising issues, but those have been dealt with and seems to be on track, and I haven't had any complaints to our office in regards to flyers being left, on driveways. So that's good, and that's all I have for that for now.
Actually, can I just
Yeah.
clarify, I guess? Are flyers only available to pick up, or are some flyers still being delivered?
As far as I know, they're only available for pickup now.
Okay. So I guess my only concern was, and maybe that's what you're talking about with the advertising of it.
Yes.
Is I just had some concerns around, especially the elderly that might not have social media.
So there was supposed to be a notice that went out in the mail in regards to having the flyers discontinued, the flyer delivery at the homes discontinued.
It's in the newsletter.
Yeah, and it's in the newsletter. The message, it might take a little bit of time for people to, fully become aware, especially some people who are not on Facebook. So I think we just got to give it a little bit of breathing room. And everybody seems pretty happy so far. The locations are pretty convenient. And there was only a couple issues regarding the installation, like I said, that have been fixed, and the advertising, just making sure that the boxes are properly marked as to what they are, and that's been fixed as well. So we're good.
Good job.
Yeah. And I guess number 13, I'm doing 14.
Number 14, website activity and Facebook live streaming update.
Okay, so the RMB Facebook page has 614 followers. We received 10 new page likes in August so far. Each post reaches approximately 1,600 people. Our top viewers are from Vernon Bridge. Second is Charlottetown, and coming in third is Montague. 70% of our audience are women, 30% are male. Shop Belfast PEI has a Facebook page now as well, and that has 73 followers, which isn't bad for our first, just right out the gate, a couple weeks. And we also have an Instagram account to promote local businesses, which we have all, both Trisha and Catherine and myself are admin on, and we take turns keeping that updated. So keeping the material fresh and relevant. Let's see, we have 60 followers on Instagram, and each one of our posts for Shop Belfast only reaches about 689 people, but we're still a small group, so I expect that to grow. So yeah, which is pretty exciting, and I'm pretty happy with the feedback so far. So that's it for our website and Facebook activities.
It's pretty comprehensive.
Yeah. Well, I do a
Really keep
statistical
track, don't you?
statistical analysis,
You
so
work for,
I
you
don't
work
mess
for the-
around.
yeah, you work
I don't
for
mess
the-
around. I don't mess around.
Yeah?
Thank you.
For Facebook guy. Keeping the data. Zuckerberg.
Yeah, that's my other job.
Wellness Center progress updated.
Okay, so meeting has been set up for Monday, September 4th, between the Belfast Community Development Corporation, BCDC, their board and staff, the Belfast Rec Center, their board and staff, and RMB Mayor Gillis and CAO Bob Brooks. The concept of this meeting is to get all three parties together to discuss how and or if the concept of including a wellness center as part or in conjunction with the Belfast Rec Center is an achievable concept. The mayor and CAO will report back to us as per how that meeting goes at our September council meeting.
I would like to hear something about that. I would like anyone to define what the wellness center is. What does it include? The only one that I'm actually aware of was funded through Bud Feds and Province to support the Canada Games in Montague. But in reality, all it is.
Rustico got one last year.
I mean,
Rustico got their new facility last year for Canada Games.
that's right, but it's funded through Canada Games.
Right.
It's also pretty large communities compared to what we have here. And I wonder, I really wonder what occurred to define for me what a wellness center is. I'm really like to hear that because I do know that,
Look it up in Webster's.
Well, do you want me
But I
to?
think you can come back from the meeting.
Yeah, that's part of the that's.
I've asked a number of people involved already to define what a wellness center is, or no one would define what it is. Which is not really.
It's a rink, you're just not allowed to say rink.
Not wrong.
It's a rink, but you're not allowed to say rink. You call it a wellness center.
I
it's
think
fine.
I think you'll get a lot more answers after they have this initial meeting as a group, and they can collaborate and discuss what their vision is together, and then we can come back and present something to you and kind of define those parameters a little bit more clearly. But I think that meeting has to happen before any of us go and put a label on what it is.
Yeah, when it's not, when you come back to the meeting, I'd like to hear the definition.
Are you on the
Sure.
board? Are you still with the board of the BCDC?
No, not anymore. I can rejoin anytime that I wish. It's an open-ended thing.
But
So
at
yeah.
present, you are not the board member.
No, currently not. I mean, I speak with the board, with staff.
There will be a report after the meeting presented to council. Okay.
I noticed in the PEI Federation pamphlet that come out, did you all get that? See, there's monies for warming centers there now, for generators.
That's
I'm
one
gonna
of our
trust that.
that's one of our topics for tonight.
Okay,
Yeah, Catherine's got it covered.
okay. Any other questions on the wellness center update? Okay, official community plan and development bylaw update. Presented by Administration Ashley Bestchuk.
Me again. Now that the strategic plan is complete, RMB can now concentrate on the completion of the community plan and development bylaw. RMB has been in discussions with FOTEN to reactivate the process, and the CAO has been in discussions with our selected development officer to help RMB complete the process. It is planned to reactivate the public discussions and public process in September, and this will continue for however long it takes. This issue will continue to be a standing agenda item until we have completed it.
So if I recall, the last kind of work that was done on the draft bylaws was that all of the community comments came in, they went off to board and then they might have like come back to us, but maybe the administration was working on kind of maybe sanitizing it so they didn't have people's names on it, but they're
I'm pretty sure that there is a copy of what they came back to us with on our website right now, that you can look at and review. Yes, they were taking out all of the people's names because there was a lot of input from the community, and there were some privacy concerns. So yes, they did do their thing and make it more discreet. So yeah, I will double check that it is up on the website, but to my knowledge it was posted.
So with the potential next step in terms to the community plan and the developmental bylaw, if in fact the latest version is on the website, it's a whole nother public meeting.
That's correct. Yes.
As many as it takes that we can get satisfactory results with the majority of the population, I guess.
So when I had spoke to Bob, I had kind of voiced some concerns in with the first draft, and I was on council then, appeared to come straight from Flotan without council reviewing it, and maybe this is council isn't supposed to review it without the public, and that's fine. But I guess I think I had expressed to Bob or asked Bob if we could have a meeting as council to review it. Just if there were any obvious things like the chicken bylaw last time that got everyone really fired up, including myself. If there was anything like that we should review as a council. So maybe I misunderstood in that council has to review it with the public, but I kind of, in my head, thought that we were going to review it as a council before we had a public presentation.
I'm pretty sure that last time council was given the documents a week before to review, and then if anyone had concerns, they reached out to Bob or to our office, and then
Amendments were made.
Exactly. Yes.
Okay, so the same thing, so we should start now, well, whenever we have time.
I will confirm.
To
Yeah.
review.
I will confirm with Bob as to if those documents get released to council prior to the public tomorrow when I see him, and then I'll let you know. Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Ashley.
you're welcome.
The issues I had with it, the following I was there at that meeting, was when I read the entire document from beginning to end, and what I discovered too, essentially what it is the provincial planning act. And
Yes.
it said they did some copy of the provincial planning act and presented that. That's where the bulk of it was.
Bulk of the bylaws are provincial bylaws. They were supposed to be following anyways. You're right.
That's right, they're already there.
Yes.
And,
Belfast
I
Community Council was asked to put in tweak some stuff
Yes.
and put it in personally that represents the community better than the province as a whole.
Exactly.
I've spoken with a lot of people on this, trying to get a kind of a handle on what people think about it. And one of the things that sort of jumps out to you is that a lot of people move to Belfast to get away from this kind of stuff. As you all know, and I've been fairly critical about I'm critical to a point. I'm quite clear that I believe that we should probably postpone any of this until the very last minute.
No.
Apparently it's not going to happen. And that's fine.
The community meetings will be a chance for people to look at it in a little bit more detail, and be able to have their say. And these discussions will be open until we come to some sort of agreement as to what the right plan of action is for the community.
I'm afraid that it's going to be very painful. Because
It might be,
It
but
might
that's
be.
part of the process.
bylaws,
Yeah,
the
that's,
suggested bylaws that I heard, I just take a quick ride around the community, and there's so many of them that are already broken, that,
there are also,
suggested that it's going to be quite controversial.
But some of those are going to be grandfather clause, like, hey, Billy, I'm going to put a 30-dog kennel in the front paddock next to your house. It's not my property. Are you okay if I'm going to have kennels and dogs barking all freaking day at rentals? No? It's right, there's a bylaw, I can't do that. So there's going to be stuff like, if Billy did that to me, I'd be really upset, but there's no bylaw. So some of these bylaws are actually going to be beneficial, and yes, some of them are going to be painful, but it's a matter of how the community embraces it and how the community moves through it to be able to for the community. And that's the point of these meetings, is to get to a point that we're all happy with it. And may not all be happy with it, but it's gonna be some of it that is gonna be okay with everyone. Sorry, go around, sorry, dog. Oh, you already have one.
Poor Billy. Garth is giving him the gavel.
Geek.
All right.
Okay,
that's-
thank you.
You're welcome.
New business for the agenda. We have Lynn for one. Got a comment for new business?
Yeah, I can go first. I had someone,
Pond
address me
Road.
some concerns on Pond Road. And it was a short and sweet conversation, but I said I would address it. I'm not sure roughly how long the road is, we've all been on it.
That's a problem.
Yeah, Pond Road, yeah. I guess.
4 kilometers, I think we're tied up
Yeah,
pretty
that's,
well.
that's what I was
You'd be on
thinking.
the beach by that time, I
It's
think.
not that long, but it's long enough.
Yeah.
And it's dirt, like some of it's dirt, and it does end at a beach, and there's not a lot of parking.
No,
At
it's
the
not
end.
down
So
there.
that was one concern, is that obviously it's being well used, which I like, which is a wonderful thing. But there's no parking, and I think that's what's happening. People are speeding down this road, and all of a sudden they're coming to the end, and there's cars and there's traffic, but you know, there's a lot of children on the road, and there's horses, there's people walking, there's kids on their bicycles. So this one person did address that. Obviously, they've seen it consecutively, cars speeding, and it's a concern. So it's a provincial road, so it'll have to be
RCMP.
yeah, so our CMP or highways, like it's above us, but it's something that I said I'd definitely raise, and that we could hopefully get the message across to have someone kind of look into it. Speed signs, whether the province wants to get into signage. Whether one concern will matter, I would assume, I would hope it would. It's, you know, it's a nice area, it's a nice road, and it's a nice
Yeah.
beach. And, it didn't seem to be that it was tourists. I had asked, like, is this something that seems to be seasonal? And no, it's livable.
Oh.
So it's,
People that know better.
yeah. So that's, I don't know, to me, that's what I assumed, was maybe it's the time of the year, and there's people that aren't familiar with the area and tourists, but that's not the case. So,
Our office does have a contact at the RCMP, and they're constantly looking for feedback from our municipality as to these types of issues. So I can bring it forward
yeah.
to our contact and let them know that this is an issue and it's
They can
dangerous. Yes.
have a drive-by
Yeah.
sometime?
So,
And maybe we could do something with the Facebook page to
Yeah.
let people know that if they do witness that they can call the RCMP.
Yes.
To notify, and then at least there's conversations happening online, so potentially that could be a deterrent when people see that people are talking about it. And they're talking about calling the police, so that might deter, and then police might come out and do a couple checks.
and they've done that before in regards to some of the issues that we've had.
What's the posted speed on that road?
It'd be 80.
Most, and even, I think, on most unmarked roads are 80.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
So
it's,
that's another option too, is maybe we could talk to highways about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speed sign,
having a
like,
speed sign posted, but,
I wouldn't have thought 80 when I got there.
yeah, most unmarked roads are 80, and you wouldn't think that road would be 80 the
No.
way the pavement ends
I
and
would want to
gravel.
take that as an 80.
No, you wouldn't want to. And well, we know the road, so you know what's coming.
Yeah.
People don't know what's at the end, like all of a sudden it's dirt and all of a sudden it's water.
You don't have to wait till the end before you get into a surprise.
Yes.
In Mike McGain's living room.
But there is, you see kids biking, and I mean, there's horses right there, and
Yeah.
there's horse lessons happening, and it's just, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
And it might be a case that someone is driving 80, so they're not actually breaking the law.
Yeah, just looks like they're going
That
super
could
fast.
be it too.
Nobody
That
else
could be
goes
it
that
too.
fast.
So,
That could be
so
it.
this is secondhand information, this is a concern, and I
No.
mean,
Because like, it sounds like locally, that have been on the road, we're like, we wouldn't drive that, but again, other people might, if they're not breaking the law.
Even on Factory, if somebody goes down there at 80 at the speed limit, you'd think they were cruising down the road, but it's just because, you know. it's-
Nobody does that.
It's a shitty road and it's
Yeah.
short, so usually
well,
you go.
judging by the
40.
reaction of the person that mentioned it to me,
Yeah.
it seems that it's fast to them,
Okay.
right?
And it could be well over 80, and it
Yeah.
might be
So
around 80.
it's fast to them, but again, it's unmarked, so.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
to piggyback off that, just so it's in your notes actually at the same time, I had the same concerns come forward about the holiday workload in Alvin. Apparently this resident has tried calling the province before to have the speed changed or have signs put up, also to have child friendly signs, and she was advised that it couldn't be done. So I was wondering if something could be done if the municipality puts it forward. So if you want to add that road to the
Okay.
list as well. We could probably brainstorm a few roads that could use something.
I have another road, but a little bit different concern I forgot to say, added into here. And it actually came forward by a couple of different people, coming into the post office, and talking when the ferry was down, is Selkirk Road. So, thanks to good old Google, most people are using Google now for their GPS. So coming off the ferry, and Google is setting them to say 2 minutes up Selkirk Road instead of Scenic Road. And the road is not well maintained. Selkirk's got a lot of bumps in it. And two of these people, like they're saying like it's just pedal to the metal, and they're just flying up Selkirk. And whether or not, you know, again, talking in like ferry stuff and tourism, is that, you know, perhaps looking at having a, like, yes, we have the overhead signs posted saying, you know, Montague this way, Charlottetown this way, but potentially having like a nice sign that's like really obvious, like a mural, something saying scenic highway this way. Like there's some points east signs and everything, and those are great, but not everybody really knows what those are. And you know, I think it'd be great to get people, like, you know, can you imagine coming, like, welcome to Island, go up this bumpy road, middle of farmland, trees, whoop-de-doo, or the nice scenic, welcome to PI. This is a nice way to go.
That might be something for your tourism buddy.
Yeah, so kind of we're taking
Giggle,
that
is it?
angle out
Just
as
wrote that
well,
down 'cause I remember.
but it's also, you know, coming from two community members that they're getting frustrated with the traffic that never used to be on the road, but now that Google's like, save 2
I'm
minutes.
surprised, because like that's always been a very active road for boat
Yeah.
traffic.
Yeah, Camille and these ones have lived there for a fair amount of time,
It was-
and they have.
It was a trucker secret for quite a few years, but it's gone out now.
It's, yeah, a lot of people, like, they're getting a lot more traffic over the years used to seeing this. Like,
I think it was
this.
probably local before, because we all knew the 2 minute break.
Yeah, because they're like, you
but
know, a
now
lot of
Google.
off-island,
Yeah, now Google
plates,
sends you
and-
that one.
yeah,
Yeah.
so.
And
I know.
used needles found in public spaces. Catherine Bryson?
So, you guys might have seen that there was a concern put forward from a resident on the Belfast Community Facebook page. So this was back in July. There was a large dump site, essentially, of various drug paraphernalia found at the Holiday Wharf Beach. And also after that, with further conversations with individuals, it's also been advised to me that there have also been needles and such found at the Connect Park as well. So this particular resident contacted Darlene Compton's office asking if the province could come clean it up, because there's concerns that when kids go down there about the needles and whatnot. They did get a call back from her office, but were advised that the service doesn't exist on the island, which was a bit shocking to hear, considering that I'm sure this is not a Belfast individual problem. So it was actually that resident's husband, so I want to thank the Holidays who graciously cleaned up the beach on their own. And thankfully no needles were found at this particular site, but it was obvious that drug use have been taking place on this public beach. So in her conversation with Minister Commons' office, she was advised to perhaps call the RCMP to patrol the area. And then the staff member also suggested that a sharps container be installed at the beach. This particular resident was not a favor of that suggestion, but I
I want to just go, it's like, who goes and empties it?
so that's part of the conversation. So a few things that I'd like to suggest tonight. Number one, that our municipality contact, I guess it would be public health would be the best option for this, especially since this resident in particular has spoken to the province already, who says they don't have anything in place. So I guess what would public health advise moving forward, especially if we could have a public awareness campaign just on if somebody finds a needle, what do you do? Because if we can't call the province, how are they supposed to dispose of it? A big concern. Also, when we do talk to public health, is it a possibility to address how we can bring mental health and addiction services here? Because clearly there's an issue. I think we should look at the options of having needle disposal sites installed throughout the municipality. And I've heard it both ways, that it's a great idea, that it's not a great idea, that it will promote drug use, that it will make our areas safer. But I think that's a conversation that as a council we need to have. And with talking to public health on what they would advise. And then the final thing I'm asking is that if we can add it to the list to talk to the RCMP and potentially do some late night patrols. I don't know if this is a seasonal thing, no idea, but if they could at least add that to their list of patrol areas, just to wander down some night, just to make sure there's nothing dangerous going on. And then, yeah, that same resident had the issue with the speed limits, which we already addressed. That's kind of where I see that conversation going. I don't know if anyone has any other suggestions tonight, but I think that's at least a starting point. moving forward.
Okay,
This particular large, I mean, if you go on the Facebook page, Jen, you'll see it. It's a picture with a large amount of drug paraphernalia. I've heard of it happening at Connect Park in the form of needles being gone on the playground several times.
okay,
Connect
so,
Park is supposed to be watched and looked after by BCDC, is that correct, Jim?
Yeah, there was several agreements that were in place with the province on that. BCDC was being paid $4,000 a year in order to open it up and close it up each day. They had an employee doing it for years. But then the current BCDC decided that they were going to think about exploring putting a hotel there.
Yeah, that's gone
So when
now.
they did that, they forestalled they got rid of the
Employee.
province, so the province has no connect with it anymore. It's just straight from BCBC.
So maybe it's something we
I
can,
think now they blocked it off.
Part of the park is
the playground is still active.
playground, so there are the water accesses.
So maybe we can talk to Barry at BCDC
Sure.
and see
I can do that. I can
if
reach
he
out
wants
to
to
Barry.
put a sharps container.
We'll talk to him about some different options, and I will reach out to the RCMP as well as the Department of Public Health, and I will report back to you on that at the next meeting.
I think it's important too, like, we think of sharps containers, needles, but, I mean, diabetics who are traveling off the ferry, they might stop at Connect Park. I'm not saying they're the ones leaving the needles, but it might be beneficial to have a sharps container there, just so they can dispose of their medications. Maybe it's a good,
I definitely hear you,
yeah.
coming from a diabetic family. I would challenge anybody they always have containers, they're always very much conscientious of their needles. But I hear you that, you know, having something for travelers to stop in, and maybe this is something that can tie into the wellness center, you know? That there might be a needle drop off or like the sharps containers. And one of the things that people don't realize is that the sharps containers can actually be handed in free to any pharmacy on the island. There's no charge to hand the sharps containers, so,
Can you pick one up there?
yep,
Oh.
you absolutely can.
Oh, there you go.
Most public gas stations have them in the bathroom now. I haven't been into Cooper's lately. They have a public bathroom right there.
I think that the bathroom on the ferry.
Yeah, you'll see them like all
The
over.
terminal
too,
has
I know
one.
that. Just because Cooper's sells a Shell station as well, whether they spin for Signals. I know Irving Hall has them, but.
You just like
You've never
walk
been-
straight in. It's right there. Little deep freeze.
Yeah,
That's spicy.
right there.
Right.
So I'm just assuming since it's a.
Now you'll look.
But like the pop is there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Office, the pop, that.
Because it's the first gas station off the ferry, so I'm thinking
They keep it very clean.
They may have installed one there for people coming out.
Okay. I'm also next.
Okay.
So, a plan. Sorry, I'm taking off.
Yeah, just keep going.
She's on a roll.
Yeah.
Take a breath and go.
A plan for the upcoming hurricane season. So we have all seen the reports that the hurricane season is projected to be nasty again this year. I had my insurance broker out yesterday, and he's saying the same exact thing. Get your work done, get your house burns and everything insured now. So going into that, knowing that there's a possibility for another major storm, I just wanted to address what our situation is, just so the public was aware what our plan is moving forward. So going into the 2023-24 hurricane season, we're much better prepared than last year. We now have an established warming center for the municipality, and the generator has been installed, should it be needed. And I also want to stress that we have the money already allocated from this council for the cost of running a warming center should it be needed. So, should there be a need for a warming center, it will be located at the Belfast Rec Center in Eldon, and steps are already in place to have it running within 24 hours of the crisis. I also want to stress that we're currently working with WIDAC to get a second warming center up and running, and that the funding, which Garth talked about, is now available. So I believe we're really trying to get this rolling. The electrician's already been out to assess the building, see what we need, and so
This
we're gonna,
building, me?
Yes.
so we're gonna get started on getting a second warming center up and running as well. I did have some questions come forward because I put a post up just about that. So there was a question of how it will be communicated if a warming center is going to be run up. So maybe Ashley, do you mind? Because I think you
I don't
were
mind.
in charge of that. last
Yeah,
year,
so right after the storm, I was just reviewing the incident report. And right after the storm, it says in the incident report, I had people reaching out to me saying, where do I go? What do I do? And so we were able to get the warming center set up at the Northumberland Ferry Terminal within 72 hours. And it ran for
2 weeks.
I think a little bit over 2 weeks, until it wasn't needed anymore. And it was primarily some of the council that helped run that initiative, as well as some volunteers from the community, they were amazing. And the Women's Institute were fantastic. They made some cookies and muffins almost every day. And people were really grateful that they could come and charge their phones and just talk and have a shower. It was like a real safe haven for people to like debrief after the storm. So we, in terms of messaging, like once the storm let's say we have another storm. What I did last time was the only way that I could communicate at that point was via Facebook to our community, and I put posters up at Cooper's, so as to where people could go, you know, to charge things up and to get a shower and a meal and whatever. So I believe that that's the way we're going to go about it this time. We
Like a phone number people can call to
Uh,
confirm if like it's open?
our office, well, there might be.
Or
We,
EMO will have,
yes, which I've
they
given
have
you.
to be notified of anything
Right,
that's up
I've
and
given
running.
you all a registration form if you want to take some of those EMO courses for emergency training. So if you want to do that, fill it out and give it back to me. But our office line, I wouldn't suggest calling that, because in the event of a storm, it's likely that no one will be in our office right away.
Because I'm thinking that, now having had like kind of a big one that happened, that we haven't really experienced before, that, you know, next time something is being forecasted, it's coming up, then maybe that's when we start like putting out the reminders. that-
Yes.
That if it shall be needed, it will be there, so then
Yes.
kind of giving people direction.
Get the word out before
I'm
infrastructure's
glad
all
you,
blown away.
yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm already content banking that material to have ready for like the next couple, even I'm gonna start doing it in the next few weeks. We're just waiting to have a few more discussions with the Belfast rink. And then once that is all ironed out, then I will start pushing out that material through the RMB Facebook page and our website as well, so that people are prepared. Yeah,
I think we're all still on high alert from last year.
we are.
Like, really, like we're,
Still
yeah,
cleaning up.
we're still reeling from it.
Yeah.
So if there's another hurricane forecast, I think we're all gonna be.
On top of it.
So,
Sorry, Jim.
so the ferry terminal, then it has a self-contained power source.
It has a generator
It has its own generator wired
Wired into the building.
into the building.
into the building. Was that adequate last time?
It was like I said, it
Been there
was,
for years.
yeah, it was really great. It allowed,
They said that it was found.
Yeah, it's got one hardwired and then there's two trailer ones that are usually.
So
We're very fortunate they let us use it, but it's not always.
no, it's not.
is there a possibility that when that person uses
Not that I'm aware of. We have a great relationship with them, and if an emergency happened and we needed to open up those lines of communication and use that as a
With
potential,
last year's fire on the ferry, things,
it's a possibility
kinda
that
got
we
a good
could use it
cooperation.
again.
See, I wasn't aware of that, so if that's the case, that's only, what, 500 yards down the road from here. Makes you wonder, why are we exploring?
Because at any moment, management can change in the ferry.
that's fine if there's a
The
storm.
ferry can change, like it's not something that is guaranteed, it's on their good faith. If something changes, perhaps they decide to, you know, mothball that, and we may not be able to have access to it, so it's on good faith that we're allowed to.
And they're not likely to commit to it.
No.
Like, they're probably open to when there is an emergency, doing it, but they're
And
probably.
it depends on the time of year.
With it.
I would
You
also
get into,
They shut down.
if we have a storm and you get into December and they got the water and stuff all drained and the buildings are closed,
Yeah.
nothing's gonna happen down there no matter what happens.
I would also add, just for exploring this particular, we can get it all funded by the provincial government. This is a new initiative that they put forward for the entire province. So if we can get another generator, another warming center for essentially free, like, I think we should jump on it.
Well, I think it's something to be progressed very quickly because,
It
you
is.
know, because if there is that type of situation again, it's not much good that the horses at the barn.
I agree, and that's why the electrician was out last week talking with VIDOC and getting quotes and getting that ready, that piece ready, and once we have that, then we will share that with you. But we're waiting for the electrician to get back. Right now, yes. Yeah, but we're working on it, so.
The funding that's set aside is for so we already have one, that's set up, ready to go tomorrow at Belfast Rec Center. That funding that we set aside during this budget meeting and the
Strategic.
strategic planning meeting, is specifically for that one. Right now.
operations of
Yeah, it's
Warren
not
Center,
earmarked
yeah.
for expenditures, therefore it's needed.
One of the things, this is from a community member, they did send this to, MLA Darling Compton. With another hurricane season starting, has Irving Oil installed generators yet so that they can pump and fill tanker trucks with fuel? After Hurricane Fiona, the lack of generators at Irving quickly caused a shortage of gasoline for generators and chainsaws. I believe the premier mentioned that it was necessary after Fiona, but they had not heard if this was implemented. So we all remember that. Compton's reply was, thank you for your email regarding the Irving oil tanks in Charlottetown. The government has discussed with Irving, and they are aware of their responsibilities should a disaster like Fiona happen again.
What is that responsibility?
Yeah. Yeah, they answered that politically.
So that would be no.
So get your jerry cans, folks.
Yep.
We were literally
And
running
do
out
what
of
with them?
gas.
Well, that's
Like,
why
everybody
Irving
had
brought the
nothing.
tanker down there.
Yeah.
You know, we were giving
Yes,
away gas.
and they ran out.
Yep.
Yeah, very
Right?
quickly.
Because I was on,
Yeah.
and us, obviously, they had quite a few ahead of me, but
No,
there was
the
no
tank-
gas.
We had to, the truck didn't run out of gas, they had to leave, it was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
So that was the problem.
Yeah,
There's still gas in the tank, it's just, they are only available for that length of time.
yeah, I think there was people there and then they just cut the line off.
Yeah,
They were like,
that's
sorry. Well, that's what I mean, like, people were in such desperation for
Yes.
gas, for jerry cans.
All the shortages
generators.
and everything.
Mm.
So I don't know whether or not, you know, this was something that, like, that was a reply from our MLA. I don't know if this is something that, you know,
EMO was aware of it, so,
good, so
because their infrastructure was
nothing more
down.
we can do other than.
Gas
Well-
stations had no gas and the tankers couldn't get gas to the gas station, so, yeah. So.
Bob just had a meeting with Darlene Compton not long, well, a week ago. Yeah, so I imagine that there will be future meetings with her office. That can be added to the list as something that we follow up on when we see her again.
I think so, because I think it's just an easy thing to like put away and,
I think so
you know,
too.
especially for like, you know, when you're living in a larger city like Charlottetown or Summerside, well, Summerside has its own generators, but, you know, when you're living in a large area where there's more gas stations available versus like more rural where, you know, there's not many options for us to go to, and if you're running out of gas and you get to there and they don't have gas, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, like, how are you gonna get gas to be able to continue using your generator? And especially like if it was like December, if it was cold weather, and can you imagine, like, there would have been a lot more,
We're lucky it
Oh,
happened in
yeah.
September.
right?
Yeah,
And
sure.
so, like, I think that is something that we need to stay on top of to ensure that, you know, if Irving's been told to be accountable to this, then what do we do? You know, we need to be held accountable, or they need to have, you know, okay, our plan is, we're gonna have a truck, a tanker out.
Apparently they're aware of the situation. So your milk sale.
Right?
Means nothing, yeah.
I'll make a note of it.
It's just me on the agenda last.
I know, I've got the
Yeah.
camera just on you.
I'm
So
surprised.
I'll just keep
I
going.
don't know why Trish cut in like that.
It's nice to hear somebody else's voice, isn't it? There was one other thing, just from the last meeting that I forgot to address. So, the community supports email that went out to all the counselors. Charlie, you had asked if we could post that. So I reached out to, the organizations that are on that list. They asked that it not be posted, just more so to ensure that there's no abuse of the programs. So just to reiterate to the public that are watching, all of the counselors here have a copy of any community supports that are available, be it for food supports, financial supports, anything like that. So if you're in a hard time, just reach out to one of the counselors and we'll be able to direct you where to go.
Or to our office.
Yes, or spellers. Okay, make it easy. Community pantry update. So work was done to improve the pantry over the summer. Pears, McLeod, vinyl windows and siding donated screw piles to secure the building. In the event of a hurricane, it will not get toppled over. So it's now on a more secure foundation. I did pass along your concern, Trish, with the ramp, and I've not heard response back thus far. Electrical work was also completed by Jesters and Son. People might have saw when they went by, they put a new addition on, so they just extended the electrical out to the community pantry. There is a huge demand, it's no surprise. The shelves are frequently empty now, so I just reiterate that anyone who's able to donate anything, just please do so. Also, the donations are accepted Monday to Friday, 8 to 12 at the RMB office, so anyone can drop in during those times with their donations. Cash donations are also being accepted, and I'll forward those emails to you actually, so we can get something up on our Facebook page and the website, just in case people would like to do that option as well. And our director, Bonnie Shea-Pillier, just wanted to address that they expect to see an uptake this month as families prepare to go back to school, and then also another uptake during the Christmas season. So just to keep that in mind for donation items and times that you might be able to donate. Okay, the final thing I had for tonight was childcare concerns. So I was contacted this past week from a resident and staff of the daycare concerned about the lack of childcare in the municipality of Belfast. The lack of childcare space is a major obstacle to parents' ability to secure full-time employment. This issue leads to financial constraints, but also hinders job advancement possibilities and future job opportunities, thus affecting the families for a time period beyond the typical childcare years. There is also an extreme need for before and after school care for school-age children in our municipality. I have been in contact with Chances, and they were able to get back to me very quickly because I wasn't expecting to have an update for this meeting. So anybody that doesn't know, Chances is the business that currently runs the full-time daycare in Belfast. And so during the school years, they run that out of Belfast Consolidated School, and in the summer, they run it out of St. John's Presbyterian Church.
I think it might just be specifically this summer.
Is it just this summer? Okay.
Yes, I think last summer we were told that you're cutting school.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, the school's getting HVAC system all done now, so everything had to be moved.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. So when I spoke to them, I asked them some basic questions just regarding what our current availability is, how many children are currently on the waiting list, and what's holding them back from expanding or offering more services. So through those conversations, I can tell you that there are currently 250 to 300 children on this wait list for our region. That number for Belfast specifically isn't known, but that's just for Southern Kings. So considering the landmass of Belfast, that would be a large portion of those. From the staff member that I was originally talking to, he guessed perhaps 75 children. The initial person I talked to was shocked by that number, and then was quickly advised by his other staff that it's probably higher. So just so we can kind of get a picture of how many kids are without daycare right now. So these predicted 75 children represent 75 families, 150 parents who are reduced to a single or reduced income while they wait for secure childcare. And we also need to keep in mind that many of the new families that have recently moved here have done so without familiar supports. So they don't necessarily, I mean, myself included, I don't have a grandparent that can just watch the kids if I have to get called into work. So this really puts a strain on our families here. And as we are a growing municipality with many young families, it's something that we need to look into. So I can also inform you that the space at the school that Chances is currently licensed for is 35 children, though they are currently at full capacity with 23 children. So that's a difference of 14 children that they
So
could.
the limiting factor is staff.
Staff, they don't have staff to watch the other 14 kids?
And so the other.
I've got a child in Chances,
Mhm.
2 children actually in Chances, and what seems to be a predominant problem is that the staff are having a hard time affording the gas because they don't live here. So
Ah.
they're driving from Winslow,
Oh.
and so when an opportunity arises to be closer, they leave.
Sure.
So it seems a little bit like, and there's lots of, all the staff are excellent there, but it seems like it might be a kind of like a stepping stone for like maybe recent graduates to get some of their hours and certifications, because they're always in need of staff, and then as soon as possible, and no hard feelings to them, like, gas is expensive and that's a long drive.
Absolutely, absolutely. They also advised me that they have plenty of room for further expansion as well, which is great news. But again, the
At the
staff
school?
at the school. So yeah, the director for the Belfast program said that there are several rooms that are available to expand into. But the limiting factor is the lack of staff. And so I will quote this directly from what they told me. Staffing is primarily the only limitations we have with fully filling Belfast. Finding certified staff who either live or are willing to travel to such a rural area is extremely difficult. So what I have suggested in talking to Bob, because we obviously already have a lot of things on our list and upcoming for the strategic plan, I have offered to spend the next month, I guess, researching this issue, interviewing, specifically I'd like to interview more of the Chances staff to get those, to find out what the factors are. I'd like to interview any unemployed staff that might have their certifications. Why aren't you working? Are you caring for your own children, or cost a factor? I'd like to just know what the limits are. And I also want to talk to the families. So full disclosure, I mean, I was one of the families affected as well. So I understand this firsthand. Not only do I not have family on the island, but we couldn't get daycare. And so this program from the province to create the pre-kindergarten free 3 hours a day is fantastic, but there's no spaces whatsoever. And so in my personal situation, we were offered a space in Stratford, which is a 40-minute drive there and back for a 3-hour program. And with the price of gas, we couldn't afford it. It just wasn't a possibility. So I stayed home with her, which luckily we were able to do, but a lot of families, that puts them, I mean, it put us incredibly tight too. So I don't know, full disclosure, I don't know if there's anything that the municipality is going to be able to do to fix this. But I'll commit to at least finding what the issues are and seeing if there's something the municipality can do, or now that we have those communication lines open with Darlene's office, if there's something the province can do to try to attract people here and keep people here. So that's that situation. It's pretty dire. Obviously, it's on a lot of people's minds going into the school year. I guess if anyone knows, anyone willing to offer before or after school care, there's a huge demand.
I know, it just becomes really difficult to how you transport them.
Yep. I
And
know
if you can
this
find
is-
somebody willing, and from what I understand, the school has on a few occasions tried to do the after-school care, but it's never really run for more than a semester because it's dropped out, and then there are scheduling issues because then suddenly things change. So I don't think that there's a whole lot of appetite from the school to get involved, with staff again.
That's that issue. I'm done. I'm done until next time. Till next time. But So I think that's something that, if that comes up, then that's a provincial thing that we need to pass on.
That might be an interesting thing to ask, during Compton is that, just announced that EMS, their courses are gonna be free to encourage more EMS, so what about looking at potentially helping support the EC? So, it's not a high paying field to go into as well, which also is an issue. A lot of people love to go, just thinking from my experience with friends I've done, of course, that they've gone into it because they love kids and everything, but at the end of the day, it barely gets them above the poverty line, and they can't afford to stay in it, so a lot of them opt to go back to school and find a different career, sad as it is.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So those are all avenues that we need to explore to get to the cause of it. Because again, this is same with the needles issue. This isn't a Belfast issue. This is a province issue that's happening in Belfast as well. So we'll do our part to at least move it along.
Anyone?
Well done. Are you looking for more?
Jim's daycare.
What's your name and a chance?
Okay, is there anything else on our new business? Okay.
Catherine?
Yeah, Catherine,
Once?
check your list.
I told you I wasn't going to read those newsletters, and I didn't.
Alright. The next regular meeting of council is scheduled for Wednesday, September 20th, 2023 at 7 o'clock in the upstairs hall at the Woodhouse Market. And the official community plan and development bylaw process resumption to be determined. And if there is no further business,
Are we
Billy.
assuming it's going forward on September 6th? Was it September 6th?
Almost got the gavel.
There's
I know. You're fast for
no, there's been no official dates. No, and when there is, they will be posted. I'll make sure everybody knows.
I want to mention something after the meeting's over.
Sure.
Okay. Billy, you got something to say? Thank
What's
you.
the time? Thank you, everyone.